Hi, and welcome to the Quick and Dirty Romance Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Skye McDonald, author of the Auntie Belle series and the soon-to-be-released The Not So Nice Girl.
And I'm Sarah Smith, author of Faker, If You Never Come Back, Simmer Down, On Location, The Close-Up, In Love with Louis Prescott, and The Boy with the Bookstore.
And together we are Sarah Skye, author of the best-selling Unlikely Pairing series, Sips and Strokes, Vibes and Feels, and our newest release, Whiskers and Sunshine.
Each episode will dive deep into what it's like to be a contemporary romance author. We'll talk writing inspiration, give you the inside scoop about the publishing world, chat about how we write those infamous sex scenes, and more. And then we'll pull out and wrap it up in 30 minutes or less, but we promise to leave you satisfied.
So if you haven't already read our books, be sure to check us out after you have listened to this podcast. And we are always open for DMs or emails with any questions or requests for future episodes that you might have.
So during our last episode, Skye and I mentioned that we have some exciting book news coming up, and that's what we'll be chatting about today. We both have big book announcements. So Skye, you're going to go first.
Oh, I always like coming first. Okay. I will go first. I have a brand new romance coming out on May 30th. It is called The Not So Nice Girl. And if you're watching on YouTube, I am waving the cover around because it is so 80s and so cute. But if you're not watching on YouTube, go over to Instagram because you will find it over there. This is a friends to lovers romance set in 1986. All the summer 80s Nashville vibes that you could want, along with a couple of heavier themes, because of course there are heavier themes. And I'm really excited about this release. It's my first solo release that we have not put out since 2020. So I kind of can't believe that, but yes, and it is also the first time that I am not working with my own publishing label. I'm working with Small Town Girl Publishing, a subsidiary of Brother Mockingbird, and very excited to be working with them to get this out in the world. So yes.
I'm so freaking pumped for this book, Skye. And to let everybody know, I have read The Not So Nice Girl. It is amazing and it's beautiful. It looks incredible. And I cannot wait for you all to read it because it is, it's a very, I don't want to give too much away, Skye. I'll let you talk about how much whatever you want. But it's a very important book, I think, in your career as an author, as a solo author, as Skye McDonald, right?
In what way? I'm curious about that.
Because I think that it's very important in your Auntie Belle series, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I would agree. I think it is a book that is on time for release in terms of some of the themes. Just for transparency, without any spoilers. Obviously, again, 80s vibes, lots of fashion from the 80s, music from the 80s, but you're also going to get some heavier themes because that's how I work. That's how we work as well. And here you're going to see themes such as a woman's right to choose. And you're also going to see things about defying gender norms and expectations of how life should be lived. So those are definitely things that are present in the book, although it is far from some sort of political manifesto. So I do think it is on time to be released now. It definitely also, for fans of the Auntie Belle series, Sam and Eleanor, who are the characters in this book, are the parents of Celeste. So you'll read this and then you'll need to go back and reread Not Suitable for Work because it will just fill in so many blanks about where Celeste comes from. So I am very excited about that. I was debating when I was getting ready for a release, doing another in the Auntie Belle series or going back to the OG Auntie Belles, which is kind of what I unofficially call this. And I thought this would be fun. And I just thought I thought it was time for an 80s romance. Like we need, we've got Stranger Things, all this 80s like remakes. And I was like, it's time for 80s. Let's do the thing. So I am excited about this. Thank you.
Of course. And I just have to say, I was an 80s baby. I was born in 1985. I think you were an 80s baby as well.
Yes.
So I think it's just really cool to see like a book set in an era that we came from, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because it's so far away and we were both so young that like I don't remember a lot of the things, right? This is not historical fiction because historical fiction technically is 50 or more years ago, I believe. So it does not class as historical fiction, although the amount of work that I had to do to like set it up was pretty significant. And it was fun to do. I look back not only at 80s music and the era, because specifically it's set in 86. So I took a lot of care with fidelity to that, right? You know, they couldn't talk about seeing, I don't know, like the movie Cocktail, which is one of my favorite 80s movies, even though it's ridiculous, because it didn't come out, right? And so I wanted to make sure that everything lined up with the exact time. Um, and that was pretty fun, but also just like capturing Nashville at that time because I was small and I don't remember like exactly what was up. So researching like the music scene and how things would been, but also not to ramble too much about it. The the book is really special to me because of some of the side characters in it who are based directly on my family. Um, so as you read it, you know, and I've talked about this in a couple of other interviews, but as you read it, the character who runs the record store is very, very dear to me because it's based on my dad, and the grandmother in the book is also based on my grandmother. So it was fun to go back in time, but also to kind of bring more of my history into it than I really have in other books. It was interesting.
Yeah, I remember you saying that about this book, how the side characters were inspired by your real life family and loved ones, and I thought that was really, really cool. I'm really glad that the main characters aren't based on anyone you know, because
Yeah.
some sexy stuff happens, and I don't really want to think about real people
Nope.
doing that.
Nope, not at all. Couldn't be. Okay, so I will say that the book is a friends to lovers, which, you know, we've talked about before, is neither of us really our wheelhouse, right? Friends to lovers can be tough for me because it can be difficult to figure out, like, well, if you love each other already, why aren't you just in love? So inventing the story about like why that wasn't working. I think this is my only real, well, no, I do have one other friends to lovers in the Antebellum canon, but I definitely drew upon some experiences from my family's history in terms of, like I said, of the side characters. But obviously, you know, I always think back to when you published Faker, and one of your things about Tate was that he was basically the antithesis of your brothers. Like the whole tall, dark, and handsome did not work for you. And I always remember that because it makes me laugh. But exactly in the same way, like the record store owner is based on dad, not the male main character, right? Ew. No thanks. But yes, so plenty of like personal McDonald family history without it being weird or skeevy.
That's I'm so happy that you can relate to like wanting to incorporate like special things from your loved ones in your books. I think that's a really fun thing to do, and it makes your book even more sentimental in that way. But like, God, no, I don't want, yeah, like when you're related to somebody who embodies a specific romance trope, it really sucks as a romance writer, by the way. Um, because yeah, that whole tall, dark, and handsome, it's extremely popular and it's great, but that is what my brothers are, and vomit, gross. I mean, nothing against my brothers, but like nobody wants to think about their siblings like that. So I can completely relate to that, Skye, and thank you for not doing that because it made
Yeah.
it more pleasant to read.
My pleasure. It gave me less to talk about with my therapist. We'll put it that way.
um,
So yes, yeah, I'm very excited about it. And my dad is getting a kick out of people loving the character that is based on it.
Aw, that's
Oh
so
yeah.
cute.
Yeah, it is. It's very cute. He's very pleased. So I'm going to definitely have to take copies of the book around to where he works so people can see.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, I look at this, I'm in a
Yeah.
book now. Like
Yeah.
how I think that that's so cute when like obviously your family's wonderful no matter what you do because they're good people, but like when you put out a book and your family's like really excited about it and they like look, my daughter wrote a book and I'm in it. Like it's just
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Love it. Yep. It was fun to do. It was fun to write. It's been fun to go through the process of bringing out into the world because, like I said, it's been quite a few years since I did a solo effort. And even though this was written quite some time ago, so all of my books were written before my life changed over and I did all the things. But this book was in draft back in like 2017. So even though I do think it is right on time to release it, like I said, with some of the themes, but also just for the call for 80s nostalgia, it's been in the works for a while, and there are spin-off books to it. But for now, I'm just kind of really excited to see where it goes. I have a couple of events that I'm really excited about for people who are in Jersey. I'm doing a launch party on the launch day on the 30th. But for those of you who are in Houston, I will be at Book Lovers Con June 1st. So I'm super excited to see some Houston contingency. I haven't been down to Houston in a long time. And then I'm trying to get stuff together in Nashville too. So just trying to get this book like out into the world in a way that's a little bit different and kind of just taking a different approach. But very excited about it. So yeah.
I mean, I'm really excited too because I love the Antebelle series. I'm a huge fan of all of your Skye McDonald books, obviously, and it's really really cool to see this prequel in that universe because
Yeah.
I don't really see a lot of like romance prequels, which is kind of like I think the concept of that is really cool. And do you, or maybe, because like you talked about it before a little bit, but like, do you want to talk about what, or do you want to say like what the book is about? I mean, like you did say what it's about, like it's friends to lovers, it's Celeste's parents, but are there any other nuggets you want to like drop? And like not to give anything away, obviously, but like it's 80s awesomeness, it's all the stuff.
um, yeah, well, I mean, I can give you the blurb.
Mhm.
That would be fine. So Eleanor Field wants to spend a drama-free summer in Nashville, listening to rock and roll and baking pastries, but her plans are derailed when she walks into a local record shop and meets Sam Green, a newly graduated, newly single guy who's looking for a stress-free summer of his own. Despite their instant attraction, neither of them is looking for anything serious, but as they continue to spend time together, their friendship lays the groundwork for something deeper. Set in the summer of '86, The Not So Nice Girl is a heartwarming romance about two people who find love where they least expect it. Eleanor and Sam share a mutual love of music, a connection, and a group of friends who bring them closer. But can they overcome their baggage and fears to take the relationship to the next level? Can Eleanor, a free spirit who's always on the move, admit that she's found a home in Sam? And can Sam, a sweet guy who's too nice for his own